Reasons to never follow Warren Buffett's advice. Investing 101. When people think of the most successful investors of our time, Warren Buffett is frequently the first name that springs to mind. The estimated wealth of $100 billion that Warren Buffett possesses is more than any of us could ever hope to achieve in our entire lives. However, you should be aware that Buffett's acquisition of fortune was not the result of any random occurrences. He was able to accomplish this accomplishment through shrewd management of his finances. However, in spite of this, attempting to replicate Buffett's approach to investing is fraught with danger. These are a few arguments that support taking an entirely new approach to that situation. In the video for today, we will go through those reasons, so stay tuned until the end. Number 1. You have different aims and different goals. The magnificent fortune that Warren Buffett has worked so hard to amass is going to be donated to charitable causes in the future, and he is currently among halfway toward realizing that goal. But let's be honest here, the vast majority of us have no intention of parting with our cash. Instead, we need our savings to be able to pay for our living expenses once we've retired. Now, this doesn't mean that you plan to use all of your savings during your lifetime, so don't worry about that implication. One of your goals could be to ensure that your children inherit some money once you're gone. For instance, on the other hand, it's quite unlikely that you're planning to give away your entire inheritance to a number of different organizations, is it? As a result, you won't be able to replicate Buffett's success by following this strategy for investing at all. Number 2. You can't compete with his stock-picking knowledge. Warren Buffett is an expert in researching companies and selecting individual equities to invest in. However, the majority of common investors do not possess anywhere close to the same level of knowledge and expertise as he does. In point in fact, Buffett has recommended on numerous occasions to the average investor that they invest their money in index funds because of this very reason. Index funds are types of funds that are managed in a hands-off manner and follow various benchmarks. For example, the objective of an S&P 500 index fund will be to provide results that are comparable to those of the S&P 500 index itself. Putting most of your money into index funds eliminates a large portion of the uncertainty that is normally associated with investing. In addition, index funds provide immediate diversification, which is an essential quality for any investment portfolio to possess. For example, if you invest in an S&P 500 index fund and buy shares, you will effectively be able to own a piece of each of the 500 individual firms that make up the index. Number 3. His techniques can be irrelevant in today's business. Buffett's performance as of late hasn't been up to standard due to the fact that the methods he uses to evaluate companies aren't necessarily applicable to the businesses of today. Buffett is accustomed to evaluating firms primarily on the tangible assets they own, despite the fact that we are living in an increasingly digital society. Given that Buffett is such a fan of banks and well-known enterprises, it shouldn't come as much of a surprise that his method of valuation frequently involves analyzing the physical assets of the companies he invests in. The worth of a company's property, machinery, and other equipment, stocks, and other goods are some of the factors that Warren Buffett takes into account when determining whether or not a company is cheap. On the other hand, some of the most prosperous information technology companies of the past 10 years have operated with an extremely limited number of physical assets. As more and more businesses migrate their operations online, Buffett's traditional way of examining a balance sheet is becoming increasingly useless. If you're enjoying this video so far, please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel if you haven't yet to show us your support. Now let's continue. Number 4. You cannot take risks like him. It is obvious that Warren Buffett has a lot of money. Because of this, he's in a financial position where he can withstand the loss of a reasonable portion should the situation warrant it. Because of this, Buffett is in a position to continue investing in a significant portion of his wealth in stocks, despite the fact that doing so is fraught with danger. It is generally recommended that as we get older, we move away from riskier investments such as stocks and towards more secure investments such as bonds. This doesn't necessitate that retirees sell all of their equities immediately, but it does suggest that they reduce their exposure. Buffett, who is 90 years old, is exempt from the requirements of this rule of thumb. If he were to lose $1 million in the stock market overnight, it wouldn't even create a blip in his fortune or the way he lives his life in the least. However, since the rest of us don't have Buffett's level of wealth, we are unable to take on the same amount of risk. Number 5. He doesn't have a lot of variety. Berkshire Hathaway is a big corporation that has stakes in a variety of business arenas across the globe. However, the majority of the company's assets are concentrated in a very small number of businesses. More than half of the company's assets are comprised of investments in companies such as Kraft, Wells Fargo, Coca-Cola, and IBM. About 40% of Berkshire's assets are concentrated in consumer goods, and another 30% are in the banking-related businesses. At the same time, the company has a relatively insignificant presence in essential industries such as the healthcare industry, the electricity industry, and the communication industry. Well, that's all for today's video. Tell us in the comment section how this one was. I hope that you found this video interesting. If you want to see more videos like this, please consider subscribing for more. And don't forget to give comments and provide us with your valuable feedback. We'll see you in the next video with some more interesting facts and stories. And until then, stay tuned.